So second on the list is our systems business. Now you'll hear from John Fowler later on today. Systems at Sun are the convergence of computing, storage, and networking. And when you look at the products that we build, over time you're not going to be able to look at one, and I actually put one up here. This is a C48 rack, a Constellation 48 blade rack. I challenge any of you in the audience, and it's not actually a worthwhile contest, to point at where's the storage, where's the networking, and where's the computing. It doesn't matter. It's in the rack. And as systems are built out going forward, you're going to decreasingly be able to delineate, well, what's a server, what's a storage device, what's a networking platform, what's an application platform. That's why this is one team. That's the innovation that we're going to bring to the marketplace. And as that integration occurs, there's going to be a lot of value and a lot of opportunity for customers that are tired of trying to manage lots of different vendors and lots of different standards and platforms. Third on the list is our microelectronics team, and one of the things that we've done over the last 12 months is really freed up that microelectronics team to go after the merchant market, to no longer be a captive supplier of microelectronics to our systems business, but instead to license intellectual property to others, as we've done to ARM, to license technology to Marvell to create derivative works, to license technology to other equipment vendors and embedded suppliers, so that, again, we can go after the broadest market possible, not simply being a captive to our own business. And then lastly, the business that is, I would argue, the most important to our customers around the world. Because most companies that we talk to, although they want to know about the technology, what they care about is, are they going to get value out of that technology? And that value comes in the form of the service that's delivered from the devices that we sell and the infrastructure we sell. And those services from Sun are both the professional services, the people-oriented services that help people architect data centers, help them operate, help them support those data centers, as well as increasingly our automated services, which are the developer services such as update or provisioning through our network.com platform. Collectively, this is where we spend $2 billion a year in R&D. And just being honest with you, one of the tough things about being in our business is if you're a camera company, it's very easy to hold up your camera and say, this is what we do for a living. When you work at Sun, you know, to walk through $2 billion in R&D actually gets tough, but the good news is in the past 12 months, we introduced a product that was easy to point to. And this is a black box, which is a modular data center, which again encompasses the servers, the storage, the network infrastructure, the software platforms, and even the service platforms that we deliver to the marketplace. We announced this about a year ago. And the intent was to start a dialogue with customers around what are the constraints you feel, how can we help with our innovations to deliver solutions that help you run your business more efficiently. And you know, it was a little bit of a stunt, certainly, to say, well, actually, if you're going to build a data center to go after, for example, the cheapest power in the world, cheap power doesn't stay in one location, because when lots of people start moving to that location to buy the power, the price goes up. So we might actually have to move a data center. And so Greg Papadopoulos, our Chief Technology Officer, had the bright idea to say, well then, let's build the biggest movable data center we can build. And what's the biggest thing you could move in the world? A shipping container. So let's figure out how do we build the most powerful data centers possible in shipping containers. And what's been interesting for us is how effectively this has captivated interest across the world. We've brought about 12,000 customers through our mobile black boxes. We actually drive them around the world and talk to customers about, you know, computing requirements and next generation data centers. But also the new revenue opportunities it's opened up from among our existing customers as well as new customers. And why do people want to build mobile data centers? I'll give you a few great examples. You know, we've got one of our larger customers is a large wireless carrier in the Russian republics, who has about a 15,000 square kilometer service territory. And you might imagine there's not Class A data center facilities across all those 15,000 square kilometers. So they needed to build Class A data center facilities to run their switching operations and some of their basic service operations, but obviously they weren't going to do that, so they instead elected to deploy using Blackbox. Now what was interesting about the deployments that they made was, you know, one of the things you really have to worry about in Blackbox is how do you cool it. One of the biggest drivers of expense in a data center is the money you spend to cool the computers that are running. It's about 1/3 of the total power actually goes into cooling the computers that are running. So what we did in Blackbox is architect a highly efficient cooling mechanism. It's about 30% more efficient. It's cyclonic, so it moves air around and liquid cools to be extremely efficient for your average data center. And when we actually sold these to MTS, which is the wireless carrier, they actually weren't as concerned with cooling them. They were actually concerned with heating them, because they were being put into the northernmost reaches of Siberia. And in fact, when Greg and I had a chance to get together with the lead decision maker, the architect of their network, he said their #1 requirement wasn't for any next generation rack or service component. His #1 requirement was snow cages. Because when there's 15 feet of snow on top of a black box, you need to get in it. And the doors open this way, and if there's snow in front of you, you can't open the doors. And so we're now putting snow cages on the front of our black boxes for those customers that actually want it. But there are also some other interesting use cases. It has become cheaper to move computing to data than to move data around. So people are moving computing facilities to satellite downlink facilities. So if you do weather forecasting or satellite imagery, it's cheaper to actually move the computing to where the data is than to try to move petabytes and exabytes of data around the world. We have customers who want to put mobile rendering facilities in Beijing in time for the Summer Olympics. Rather than try to go after the no longer available Class A data center facilities in Beijing, because everybody wants to be in Beijing for the Summer Olympics, they're instead going to put black boxes down to run as data centers while they're actually rendering and filming and building their content. And then when the Olympics are over, they'll simply repurpose those containers elsewhere. They're being put into portions of India, portions of Southeast Asia, places where people want to be able to run infrastructure because of the local economic environment for the expense of real estate or power or for that matter, productivity. And this allows them to take advantage of computational infrastructure without presuming the industrial or social infrastructure they'd otherwise require. So again, this is certainly an interesting example of the kinds of innovation from Sun. And my favorite thing is when we now talk to customers, we can actually give them a little truck and they can put it on their desk and they can remind themselves of what Sun does. And it's a lot easier to explain to a 7-year-old what Sun does by giving him a truck than trying to explain enterprise computing. So